I have to say, I absolutely love this professor as a character. Even if he turns out to be a double agent for CERN, he stabs our main character Okabe in the back, I don't care. This guy makes me laugh. As long as he continues to make me laugh, I'll like the guy, even though there is this shady presence around him, like, he's too good to be true. I still love his character right now, and I absolutely love the fact that he's at Okabe's party here, and he's just saying, like, look at all these beautiful girls you're surrounded by. And then he focuses on Ruka, and I love how it just ties back to that famous line, but he's still a dude. And I love how, no matter how many world lines we shift to, Ruka remains to be best girl, male or female, always will be best girl, and I absolutely love it. This episode of Steins Gate 0, episode 3, once again continues on the path that episode 2 really set out, of showing us sometimes things are too good to be true, and it once again continues on that moral question, what is it to be human? And I really like how this episode plays. Everything is just seeming to be a little too good to be true for our main character, because I love how this AI version of Kursu keeps calling Okabe and just really wants to see the outside world and just learn more about the original relationship that she shared with Okabe. And I love just seeing, it just feels so good to see Okabe just have a bit of fun and just not be so down and depressed because he killed Kursu. He's the reason that she died, but he gets to have this like little bit of like hopefulness. And I like seeing the episode kind of flourish where just so often he'll be talking to her like she really is there. But of course, you know, she isn't there. But I like how episode 2 really established, and this episode continues on that, like, this feels like the real deal. Of course, we know the real deal died and this is an AI, but the AI is so advanced and complex that it mimics her one for one nearly. Obviously, like, even if you had a genetic clone 100%, it matched you in every way, there are going to be slight alterations to how things will respond, but there's so many moments where she responds identical to how she did in the original Steins Gate, and I love that because this truly does feel like the real deal. But then when it comes to the end of the episode where we have Mayuri trying to kind of check up, and then she kind of leaves in an emotional fit for obvious reasons, because I think she overheard the voice and just like clearly knew that Okabe was talking to either a recording, or probably she had so many thoughts going on in her mind in that scene, like, how is it possible that he's talking to someone who is dead? But I like how Maho comes in and just says, like, you can't, you're getting too attached, and gives him that cold hard truth. And this scene does so much for me, because it's the idea of, like, is it wrong for him to get so attached like it's the real deal, where clearly she's saying this is a fake version of her, we can't, this is all for scientific purposes, where Okabe's on a different side of the spectrum. And the question of what it means to be human, because this is always something that fascinates me, and one of my favorite shows is Black Mirror, and one of the early episodes in Black Mirror is basically a woman's husband or boyfriend dies, but there's this way that you can feed it its social media information, and then it can basically replicate, so you can message, and then it goes even further. If you give it voice samples, you can then talk to the person on the phone, and it mimics how your husband or your friend or your grandfather would act, and it gets even more advanced to the point that you can put it into like a robotic body. And it's this whole idea of like, can you accept this being your dead loved one, or is it too much? And Steins Gate 0 is doing the exact same thing, which I love because it's such a hard question. Like, you have to put yourself in their shoes. If you had your girlfriend, your boyfriend, husband, wife, best friend, father, mother, if they died but you had an exact AI replica, you obviously would know. You spent all your life with them. Is it too different? Is it too weird? And for each person, it's going to be different. And I like how Maho as well as Okabe are very different in this process. I feel like obviously Okabe is going to try to force himself away from it. But at the same time, I feel like we know him enough that I don't think he'll be able to give it up. I feel like this is too close to comfort for him that even though he knows it's fake, is it so wrong for him to treat her like the real deal? Because yes, in my opinion, like if I was to die and there was some way to make an AI that was absolutely so close to me, I wouldn't feel bad if my family members or whatever used that to replace the dead me, but I could understand why people wouldn't want that. And it's so interesting that if within only 3 episodes we're already thinking as a viewer, so many like, is it wrong, is it right? Should Okabe be getting so attached and feeling like it's the real deal? And I love that, and you can understand why both sides would be for it or against it, and it's just so wonderful. You know it's only going to get harder and harder as the show goes on, the more craziness as it just continues on. I mean, some reading Steiner action at the end of the episode, things are going to get hard for this Okabe. This is the worst possible world line. This is the world line where World War III happens. You know things aren't going to stay peachy. but is it so wrong for Okabe to have that happiness, or is it him not being able to face what truly happened? And that's an interesting question, and there's no right answer, but I love how it poses that question, and how much subtlety is in the emotion from Mayuri's facial animation to Okabe's facial animation. So much happens without vocals, that's something I've always loved with Steins Gate, is how much emotion is conveyed from visuals alone, but of course you have all that voice acting, and that final scene in this episode is absolutely remarkable in so many ways. And I love how the episode for the most part is a very cheerful episode, but how it does feel eerie all at the same time. Steins Gate Zero is absolutely incredible, and if it keeps on this path, it could easily surpass the original Steins Gate for me, and that's one of my favorite anime of all time. Really, I'm considering it one entity, but still, it's a feat. I absolutely love what White Fox is doing. I love the voice actors, minus Daru's Japanese voice actor. I've never liked his voice actor in the Japanese audio. It always just weirded me out, but minus him, I love all the voice actors, all the kind of slice of life moments, the downtime, the party, everything about it. It feels Steins Gate, but it feels new and refreshing. It's still impressing me. Seriously, let me know your thoughts. What do you think of just the whole interactions, the comedy, the hard, just painful moments at the end of the episode? What do you think? Do you think Okabe should be kind of pushing himself away, convincing himself that this is a fake version of her, or do you kind of see where I'm coming from, saying like, you know, maybe it's not so wrong for him to get this attached when it really does feel like the real deal, even though we know it's not the real deal? I'd love to know your thoughts. What would you do in his situation? Let me know down in that comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, remember to leave a like, and if you're new, also be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.